Senator Klobuchar.
Well, thank you so much, Chair, and thank you, Senator Moran. I was a huge fan of Amelia Earhart growing up. It was one of those fourth grade biographies I read over and over again. So I'm excited.
And look at you today.
Yeah, there we go. Well, now I have my new aviation hero in Tammy Duckworth, so there we are. Thank you, and I'm proud to co-chair the Travel and Tourism Caucus with Senator Moran. And so a lot of the issues you've been talking about resonate at home, where Minnesota actually has 126 general aviation airports that need trained staff. We have our airport was once again voted best in the country in the Twin Cities. And then, of course, we make Cirrus jets and have an air base and are really proud of aviation in our state. But we just have a huge workforce issue right now. And that's why I'm working on a number of bipartisan efforts with Senator Duckworth, Thune, Moran, Fisher, and Kelly to expand the FAA's workforce development grant program. This was mentioned. And then Senator Moran and Capito and I have a bill to work on recommend improvements to future outages, which we don't want to see, and how we bring all the stakeholders there so we move to the next generation of air traffic control is going to be really, really important. And I passed a bill on women in STEM just because I just see that if we're going to add more workers and more workforce, we don't want to leave a whole bunch of our workers behind. So I guess I'd start with sort of the current. Captain Ambrosi, in your testimony, you state that post-pandemic air travel demand returns significantly and quicker than predicted. Can you describe what impacts there were on new pilot hiring and training as a result of that demand?
Yes, absolutely, Senator. Thank you. As you know, the airlines, we didn't know, they didn't know that a vaccine was going to happen so fast. And, you know, the leadership here on the payroll support program, everybody thought that they were fighting to keep the lights on. So they probably overreacted in light of it and displaced and bumped people down to smaller airplanes. And it would take so long for us to train back the other way. In the recovery, we're still trying to recover from that. Airlines have more pilots. The big airlines have far more pilots than they had pre-pandemic right now, but they're still not operating at that pre-pandemic level.
Because of that kind of change in
all that training is just takes a huge amount of time to go back the other way.
So how would the additional grant funding help to train new workers and to get that expedited?
Well, the pilot pipeline is in a good place right now. Mm-hmm. There are pilots. There's more flight instructors than there's ever been. The colleges and universities are full, but we need to look beyond today or tomorrow and look to the future and encourage that next group of aviators and a more diverse background to get into it. So encouraging those folks to get involved will be essential.
Dr. Utesh, you want to add anything to that?
Well, I would add that we just started a pilot program almost 2 years ago. It has been full. It is very popular, but it is very expensive, and it's very hard to braid the funding together in order to offset the tuition and fee cost in addition to the flight cost.
Well, and also, as you were pointing out about the bigger airlines and the pipeline, we still have a lot of regional and smaller airlines and the need to make sure that that pipeline is strong. So I wrote a book on antitrust, which I know you all go home and read now. 200 pages of footnotes. But one of the things, we don't want to just have consolidation and only big airlines. So that's part of it. Ms. Von Meulen, you began your career as an aviation officer, as we know, in the U.S. Army, flying helicopters and leading flight operations. This idea of attracting even more veterans. I know I've met a lot of veterans who are pilots and in aviation in different ways. Is certainly part of the solution. What should we do to attract more veterans to consider jobs in aviation?
Senator, thank you for the question. Obviously, I'm passionate about veterans. The skills and talent and tenacity veterans bring to all who employ them is admirable and really a differentiator. So drawing that talent of folks who have already been exposed to aviation into the airlines and aviation more broadly is critical. What I will tell you at Alaska is we recruit directly at transition events on military basis. for both pilots and aircraft technicians, as well as others to lead our ramp, to work in our operations center, because there is already the passion that Dr. Ludi was talking about. However, the transition for pilots and technicians has to be planned. You have to ensure that you have all your ducks in a row, if I might say, in order to successfully get the equivalent FAA certification. So making that process more streamlined is actually one of the ways that government can help.
Okay, well, I'm out of time. I'll ask you on the record, Mr. Spiro, later about the air traffic control age and the requirement to retire at 56 and just what we should be doing there with air traffic controls. But I know you want to answer, but I should defer to some of my colleagues here, and I'll put that on the record. I just want to raise the issue of air traffic control. You want to answer in one sentence?
Well, I can't speak to the air traffic controllers' minimum retirement age, but I will be able to speak a little more about our aging workforce when it comes to the technicians.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.